I spent weeks planning the perfect 30th birthday dinner. My husband promised he'd be there. But when those restaurant doors opened, and he walked in holding another woman's hand, and she was wearing my grandmother's necklace. What he didn't know, I'd been planning something too. And revenge is a dish best served in front of everyone you love. If you've ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted, hit that like button right now. And subscribe, because this story gets wild. Trust me, you won't see the ending coming. My name is Sienna, and I thought I had it all figured out. I'm an event coordinator, the kind of person who makes other people's dreams come true for a living. Weddings, corporate galas, milestone celebrations, I've done them all. But planning my own 30th birthday dinner, that felt different, special. I wanted everything to be perfect because for the first time in months, I actually felt hopeful about my marriage. Garrett and I had been married for 5 years, and honestly, the last few months had been rough. He was always working late, and always tired, always distant. I told myself it was just a phase. Every marriage goes through them, right? He's building his career, and I'm building mine. We're both just busy. That's what I kept telling myself every night he came home smelling like perfume I didn't wear. And every time he dodged my calls. Every morning he left before I woke up. But I wanted to believe. God, I wanted to believe so badly that we could fix this. So I planned this dinner. I chose his favorite restaurant, invited all the people we loved. My mother, my sister Jasmine, my best friend Renata, who's been ride or die since college, some colleagues, and even his brother Knox. I thought maybe if we were surrounded by love, by family, and by the people who knew us best, we could remember why we fell in love in the first place. The morning of my birthday, Garrett kissed my forehead and promised he'd be there at 7 sharp. He was wearing cologne I'd never smelled before, but when I asked about it, he just smiled and said he wanted to smell good for my special night. I watched him leave, and something in my chest tightened. A warning I chose to ignore. Because sometimes we see the red flags and convince ourselves they're just shadows. Sometimes we know the truth but aren't ready to face it yet. I got to the restaurant early because that's what I do. I plan, I prepare, I make sure everything's flawless. The private dining room looked beautiful. Candles flickering on the table, flowers I'd chosen myself, the menu I'd spent hours perfecting. Guests started trickling in around 6:30. My mother hugged me tight. Jasmine brought my favorite wine. Renata showed up with a gift bag she wouldn't let me open yet. Everyone kept asking the same question. Where's Garrett? He'll be here, I said, checking my phone for the 100th time. He promised. 7 o'clock came and went, then 7:15. I called him twice, straight to voicemail. Knox looked uncomfortable. I kept glancing at his phone like he knew something I didn't. My mother's lips pressed into that thin line she gets when she's holding back words. But I kept smiling, kept assuring everyone he was just running late, kept dying a little inside with every passing minute. Then at 7:20, the restaurant doors opened. And my entire world stopped. Garrett walked in, but he wasn't alone. He was holding hands with a woman I'd never seen before. Young, maybe mid-20s, blonde hair cascading down her back. But that's not what made my heart stop. It was the necklace around her throat. My grandmother's diamond necklace. The one Garrett told me he'd lost 3 months ago. The one I'd cried over for days, because it was the only thing I had left of her. The room went completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Everyone's eyes moved from Garrett to her to me. And Garrett, oh God, the look on his face when he realized where he was, who was staring at him. The color drained from his skin like someone had pulled a plug. My sister Jasmine shot to her feet so fast her chair scraped against the floor. Are you kidding me right now? Her voice cut through the silence like a knife. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I just stood there, staring at my husband's hand intertwined with hers, at my grandmother's necklace catching the candlelight.
At the birthday dinner I'd planned, turning into a nightmare right before my eyes.
This couldn't be happening. Not here, not tonight, not like this. But it was. And everyone I loved was watching it unfold.
Garrett finally found his voice, stammering like a guilty child caught red-handed. Sienna, this isn't what it looks like. I can explain.
Then explain. My voice came out steadier than I expected, but my hands were shaking so badly I had to grip the edge of the table.
Explain to me, Garrett. Explain to everyone here. Explain why you're at my birthday dinner holding another woman's hand.
The blonde looked confused, her eyes darting around the room like she'd just walked into a trap. Wait, who are all these people?
Garrett, you said you had a work event tonight. Her voice was small, uncertain. Then her eyes landed on me, really looked at me, and I saw the moment understanding crashed over her. Oh my God, you're his wife.
Bethany, just give me a second, Garrett said, dropping her hand like it had caught fire. Bethany. Even her name felt like a betrayal. My best friend Renata was already on her feet, glass of water in her hand. Before anyone could stop her, she threw it straight in Garrett's face. You piece of trash! Water dripped from his hair, down his expensive suit, and I felt a dark satisfaction watching him sputter. How long? I asked, my voice rising now, all that careful control starting to crack. How long have you been sleeping with her? Garrett wiped his face, and something shifted in his expression. Guilt turned to defensiveness, like somehow I was the problem here. 6 months, okay? 6 months. And you want to know why? Because you changed, Sienna. You became so obsessed with work, with your career. We never spent time together anymore.
The absolute audacity of this man to blame me for his cheating at my own birthday party. My mother stood up, her voice deadly calm. Boy, if you don't get out of my daughter's sight right now. But I wasn't done. My eyes fixed on that necklace, the one piece of my grandmother I had left.
The necklace, Garrett. My grandmother's necklace. You told me you lost it.
He had the decency to look ashamed for half a second. I was going to give it back. Bethany admired it, and I thought, I didn't let him finish. I walked right up to him, and before I knew what I was doing, my hand connected with his face.
The slap echoed through the entire restaurant. Hard, sharp, final. Other diners had stopped eating, phones were out, and everyone was watching. Garrett's cheek bloomed red where I'd hit him, and for a moment, rage flashed in his eyes. You're all overreacting. People make mistakes. This is insane.
But then something came over me, a calmness I didn't expect. I wiped my tears, took a breath, and pulled out my phone.
My hands weren't shaking anymore. You're right, Garrett. People do make mistakes. But this? I pressed play on a voice recording, volume turned all the way up.
His voice filled the room, crystal clear. Once I drain her savings account, we can finally be together properly. She's got about 80 grand saved up. That'll set us up nice while the divorce goes through.
Then we sell the house, split it, and she'll be out of our lives for good.
Bethany's voice responded, "Are you sure she won't find out?" And Garrett, my husband, laughed.
Baby, she's clueless. Always has been. By the time she realizes what's happening, we'll be long gone. The color drained from Garrett's face. Bethany stumbled backward, hand over her mouth, staring at him like he'd turned into a monster. You said you were just unhappy. You said it was complicated. You never said... Where did you get that? Garrett lunged for my phone, but Knox stepped between us, blocking his brother with a look of pure disgust. I smiled, and it felt powerful. I've known for 2 weeks, Garrett. I hired a private investigator. I know about the affair, the plans to steal from me, all of it. And I've been preparing. I pulled an envelope from my purse, threw it on the table. Your belongings are in a storage unit. Here's the key. I changed the locks this morning. And my money? Already moved to accounts you can't touch.
You vindictive Kala. He reached for me again, but stopped when he saw the entire room glaring at him.
Oh, but there's more, I continued, my voice ice cold now. See, I did some digging on Bethany here. Imagine my surprise when I found out she's not just some random woman. She's your boss's daughter. I watched his face go white. Yeah, the same boss whose company you've been working at for 3 years. The same man who adores his little girl more than anything in this world.
Garrett's phone started buzzing. Once, twice. Multiple calls, multiple notifications lighting up his screen. Garrett grabbed his phone with shaking hands, and I watched the blood drain from his face as he scrolled through message after message.
No, 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 his voice cracked. Then he looked up at me, and I saw it, the moment he realized I'd destroyed him. You sent him everything. You sent my boss everything. I sent him the truth 2 hours ago, I said calmly. The affair with his daughter, the recordings, the courtings, the financial fraud you were planning. Everything.
His phone rang again. He answered it, and even from where I stood, I could hear yelling on the other end.
Garrett's face crumbled as he listened, then whispered, "Yes, sir, I understand."
When he hung up, his hands were trembling. I'm fired. He's blacklisting me from every firm in the city. Bethany's tears had turned to fury. She stepped forward, her voice shaking with rage. You told me you loved me.
You said we'd build a life together, but you were just using me? She reached into her purse, pulled out her phone. You want to know what else he did? He took out loans in my name. Credit cards I didn't even know about. $40,000 in debt, Garrett. FORT,000.
Garrett tried to speak, tried to defend himself, but Bethany cut him off with a slap of her own. It rang out just as loud as mine. My father's lawyers will bury you, she hissed, then grabbed the necklace from around her throat and threw it at my feet before storming out.
The restaurant manager approached our table, professional but clearly uncomfortable. Sir, your credit card has been declined for the reservation deposit. I'd canceled our joint card an hour before the party. Garrett patted his pockets frantically, looking at Knox with desperate eyes. Can you just... No. Knox's voice was flat, final. You're on your own, brother. I'm done.
Security came then, 2 large men who escorted a protesting Garrett toward the exit. And as he stumbled past tables of strangers, someone started clapping, then another person, then another. A slow clap that followed him all the way out the door until it slammed shut behind him. The silence that followed felt sacred somehow. My mother took my hand. Jasmine squeezed my shoulder. And Renata poured me a glass of champagne, grinning through her own tears. Jasmine looked around at all of us, then at me, and asked softly, should we still celebrate? And you know what? For the first time all night, I felt something shift inside me. Not happiness exactly, but something close to it. Freedom, maybe. Power. Absolutely, I said, my voice stronger now. Today's about me, not him. We ordered everything. The most expensive champagne on the menu, appetizers, steaks, desserts, all charged to that one card I'd kept active just for this moment. We toasted to new beginnings, to loyalty, to the family you choose and the family you're born into. And surrounded by people who actually loved me, who had my back no matter what, I smiled. A real smile. The first genuine one I'd felt in months. 3 months have passed since that night. The divorce was finalized last week. I kept the house, and Garrett got exactly what he deserved, which was nothing. Bethany's father followed through on his promise, and Garrett's drowning in debt and legal fees, living in a studio apartment across town.
Bethany actually sent me a letter apologizing for her part in everything. We got coffee once. She's a good person who got caught up with the wrong man. We're not best friends, but there's an understanding between us now. Knox still calls me every week to check in. He apologized 1,000 times for his brother, even though none of it was his fault. And me, I started my own event planning company. No more working for someone else, no more playing it safe. I'm thriving in ways I never imagined, and last week I went on a coffee date with someone new. His name is Damon, and when he laughs, it's genuine. When he looks at me, I don't see calculations or lies, just possibility. People ask me all the time if I regret how I handled that night, if I regret the public humiliation, the revenge, the coldness of it all. And my answer is always the same: absolutely not. When someone shows you who they really are, and believe them the first time. But more than that, protect yourself and don't just walk away hurt and broken. Make sure they can't take anything else from you. The best revenge isn't staying angry. It's becoming so successful, so happy, so completely thriving that they become irrelevant to your story. I didn't ruin Garrett's life. He did that himself. I just made sure he couldn't ruin mine. If this story taught you anything, let it be this: never let someone else's betrayal define your worth. You are not what they did to you. You are how you rise after they fall. Before you go, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, karma doesn't miss an address. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.